about not what you would think like Snow Lake, but about lakes and streams and rivers and such. Scenic route, which I'm going to show you a sample of an ad we produced to get across the truth is that you have all these great scenery opportunities. Craft beer is huge in Michigan. No idea why that's separated like that. Detroit and urban DNA. So this is about urban spaces, and we're changing the way we do that as well. And we've got a big social integration, trying to get to younger people, saying, hey, our cities are great for pubs and for music and for the arts and such. There it is. Golf is, of course, big for Michigan, more public golf courses than any other state in the country, and nature trails. So we're communicating along these lines, and we're hoping to pull people in for what they're passionate about. Like, I'm passionate about trails. I love hiking trails. We were talking about hiking trails earlier. I love that. I don't care where I'm going as long as I can see various things and different experiences. So you look for trails on Michigan.org. You go to a page, and it's likely you'll be able to see trails. And same thing for scenic experiences, scenic trails, so to speak. Show you an ad that kind of gets across this message about scenery around the state.
Along the way is where we find the unexpected. Along the way is where we take in the scenery, and often where we have the most fun. Sure, along the way can be the place we stop to fill up or grab a bite to eat. But in Michigan, along the way becomes the place we've been longing for. Because enjoying the journey is always pure Michigan. Your trip begins at Michigan.org.
Now, these are actors. We have to pay a tremendous amount of money to have actors in these things. But I happened to meet one of the young ladies in this ad at a speaking engagement a couple of weeks ago up in the UP. And she said that they still all hang out. These 4 actors got together. They did this little mini trip, and they did the ad. Now they've all become friends, so they stay up to date. I thought that was really cool. Give you an idea of an ad. I think this is for the Upper Peninsula, because we really need to explain that the Upper Peninsula is truly this unique, beautiful place. This is for the UP.
As we cross a bridge known as the Mighty Mac, we find it. Something in Chibokagashi. We know it. It's timeless. A land that says, slow down. Listen to my stories. Hear my songs. Timeless can be as big as the sunset on a great lake, or as endless as the stars that watch over it. Welcome to Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Welcome to the purest of pure Michigan. Your trip begins at Michigan.org.
Now, Yoopers love that purest of pure Michigan. It's gotten me in trouble down here, but still, I do love that. So we know that these things that we've been working on are having an impact. We're gaining momentum. We know that for a lot of reasons, through research, but also just you look at the way the media has changed the way they treat us. National Geographic called Detroit one of 6 unexpected cities for food lovers. BuzzFeed said Michigan is the top place for travel in 2017. Lonely Planet called the UP one of the top 10 best values in the world. It was the only place in the UP on their list. So we know that that's working, and we're continuing to explore kind of new trails when it comes to media that we're using. So we're using augmented reality. When you get your spring summer travel guide this year, you can download this app, and when you put your phone on the cover of the magazine, on your phone it'll show something kind of coming out of that magazine cover. You have to see it to know what I mean. It's pretty cool. Virtual reality, we're doing a lot of VR with video and such, so I'm going to give you an example of that in a second. 360 video, we're doing a lot of social influencer work where we're bringing social media kind of experts in various things, food, beer, whatever. We're encouraging them to come to the state, and then they use all their social channels to tell the world that this is a pretty cool place. And connected TV is changing the way we communicate as well, even with just regular TV ads. Today, especially a lot of young people have like Apple TVs and whatever, and they're unplugging the cord in many ways. Not everybody. I mean, there'll always be a lot of us who stay with cable and such. But this connected TV is providing different advertising venues for us to use in different ways. This is what I mean about 360. I'll give you an idea of something we did with Google. We were the first in the country to do this. This was a Google Trekker experiment. Oh, go back here for a second. Click on that again, would you? There we go. Left click. There we go. Oh, So that was a really neat thing working with Google, because not only can we share that on Michigan.org, and so basically you go there and then you decide where to point the camera, and it's pretty wild. But then Google shared that all around the world, and we were the first to do this integrated project with them, so it went really well. And we're constantly working with TV shows and such. So we've had the Travel Channel. Don Wildman did a all Michigan mysteries of the museums type show here this last year. Andrew Zimmern, the diners, drive-ins, and dives, fishing shows. Peter Greenberg from CBS did a thing with Jeff Daniels and Chelsea and the UP, and kind of goes on and on. So we're always working with these shows as well. So when you see Michigan on a lot of these different TV shows, Food Network and Travel Network and whatever, it's probably because we've been working with these folks. So there are several things that we're concerned about, of course, in the travel industry these days, and a major thing is international travel is a bit in jeopardy right now because of the federal administration's policies on security issues. Everybody wants to make sure only legitimate travelers get into the country. But there's an articulation issue. People misunderstand that when the administration talks about keeping vetting strong and such, what the world is hearing, we don't want them to travel here. That's not the case. So in Canada, we put together an ad in Canada that we just wanted to make sure that we're getting across this message that you are welcomed here in Michigan.
Wish you were here. Words we've often seen on postcards and letters from friends and family. Luckily, there's an entire state that whispers, wish you were here. Climbing my dunes, sailing on my breezes, walking along my beaches, and getting lost and bound in my course. This is a postcard from Michigan, where wishing you were here is the heart of pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
So international marketing is kind of our new market. We've been working on in-state, regional, national for 7-8 years now, and we're growing our international marketing efforts as well. So we're active in Germany, Austria, Switzerland, the UK, Ireland, Canada, and China. And it's amazing to see now there's a 10-year visa for Chinese travelers, where in the past they were a year, so they would go to New York, they would go to Vegas and LA, maybe the national parks. But they never had time to get to the real American states like Michigan. So now with a 10-year visa, we're starting to get across a message. You can come to see real America here. You can see where the American automobile industry started and so many other things. So we are very active in these countries, and we continue to work on these issues, and we know they're going to just move forward quickly. I want to show you a video that we did working with Brand USA. Brand USA is kind of the federal equivalent of Travel Michigan. And they were working on a national parks big screen film, and they wanted to promote national parks to get across this message, hey, come for our national parks. So I talked to the Brand USA folks and said, Michigan deserves to be in this because we have really interesting national park assets. So let's show you what we have, and this is it. Conrad did the Everest big screen film. Up until this film, the most viewed big screen film. So this was voiced by Robert Redford and ended up being the #1 big screen film, and got us a lot of attention because the entire film is almost all brown rock out west. And everybody loves the, Zion and Yellowstone and all that. But then the very end of the film, they come here, and we get more exposure on Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore than any other single park in the film. And then Conrad, in the press tour, he said it's the most beautiful place he's ever been to. So that was pretty cool. Now, we continue to work with them, and this year, they just last week released a new film all about American music and how it's helped to shape America. So we were able to get a couple minutes in Detroit. So that's going to be really cool to see it. Can't wait to see it. So, basically, we continue to work on things, kind of on the surface and such, and we're also working on things that we really haven't explored too much in the past. So expect to see more on Native American heritage and on Michigan history to motivate travel moving forward. Let's show this clip here. Because, moving forward, it really is all about continuing to tell this story that Michigan truly is a special place. A place with 4 seasons, a place with friendly people, a welcoming place where you can enjoy a trip for leisure, you can start your career, you can retire, you can invest, you can go to school. It's a beautiful place. All right, so if it's okay, I know we're supposed to do Q&A and such, but if it's all right, I'll see if I can find that Tim Allen interview real fast. You want to do that? Yeah. All right, just wait just a second. I can't find it. All right. Sorry about that. But you can find it. You can go on YouTube, actually. If you search Tim Allen, Pure Michigan, it'll likely come up at the first spot. It's like a 6-minute interview. We wanted Tim to come to our travel conference for our 10th anniversary of the brand, and he couldn't make it because he was doing his TV show. So he said, why don't you come out, we'll do a conversation, we'll put it on. So we did this 6-minute interview. So if you go to YouTube, search Tim Allen, Pure Michigan, you're going to see it, and it's been viewed by tens of thousands of people. So any questions? I know we have a few minutes. Yes, sir. I am so happy you brought that up, because usually I mention this by now, and I just forgot. So, so first off, funding is through the legislature with the governor's support. So Governor Snyder, when he was even running, the very first thing he came out with a stance on was Pure Michigan. He said, I'm a math guy, I've done the math, this makes total sense. We're gonna continue to fund Pure Michigan. So every year in his administration, we've either stayed flat or we've gone up slightly in budget. So this year, there's a proposal for a $35 million budget. Last year we had a $34 million budget. No, 35 last year, and so there's a proposal to go flat this year. Flat is up these days with budget, you know? And I think that's absolutely appropriate, and frankly, I know the travel industry wants us to have a $50 million budget, to which I say we could not manage that appropriately right now, because you need enough staff to really make sure you do it right and efficiently. So we're doing fine. So that's the proposal. The legislature is almost universally supportive of the campaign, because they see the real impact and they hear from everybody in the industry. Now, so anybody that has anything to do with travel, if you're a restaurant, if you're just, you know, the variety of things. I mean, the tourism industry is like, you know, rounding up cats, because it's so many things to so many people. So you go top page, michigan.org, bottom of the page it says travel industry. Click on there. It'll bring you through how you put your information online. And then if you have any questions, just reach out to us. But we'd love that. We're looking for events. We're looking for details all the time. People just think we just know all these things. We don't know anything. I mean, it's always everybody else that knows everything. So we're always asking for people to give us that info. Thanks.
Dave, I want to be fair to people
Yep.
who turned in
Yep.
question cards.
Yep.
So unfortunately, we won't be able to get to everybody, but there are some great questions here. And so the first one is actually a really great question in my opinion, because it's one I've been asking for some time now. But there's been somewhat of a movement to have public schools start prior to Labor Day in the state of Michigan. So how would that impact Michigan tourism?
Yeah, so, you know, there's a law right now where schools aren't supposed to start until after Labor Day, because July and August are critically important to the travel industry. That's where 80% of their income usually comes to. I might be exaggerating a bit. I don't think so, though. Those 2 months are when people want to travel in Michigan because of the relatively so-called comfortable weather. So the industry years ago lobbied for and got support for school not to start until after Labor Day. But they had this caveat that if you had some compelling reason, you could get a voucher to start early. Well, now 60% of schools have asked, because the schools want to have control of their schedule. You understand that. So actually, the Michigan Travel Commission is reaching out to the education community kind of quietly, without media, without others, to say, okay, how can we deal with this to make sure that we use the travel industry as an educational opportunity as well? Because we have all these jobs that we want to fill. We cannot get enough employees right now. In fact, up in Shepler's is not going to have valet parking this year because they can't get enough people. They just can't get enough employees. They can pay them $100 an hour. They can't get enough people. So we need to try to do all we can to at least preserve July and August for vacations. Vacations are an important part of our societal need, and it's educational as well. So we're trying to find ways to blend with education to meet their needs for scheduling because of sports and everything. So I know the industry would rather just give up all of June if they needed to, you know, to try to shorten that span. Most of the education community wants to have less vacation time between school because they take so much time to re-educate. My wife's a retired teacher. I've learned a lot about this. So we're reaching out to them to try to work on these issues, to make sure that everybody's needs are met, primarily the kids and our families.
So the next question actually, I think, kind of relates to the Pure Michigan Business Connect, which is a great program and one that we pay close attention to, obviously, as a Chamber of Commerce. But how is Pure Michigan Business Connect attracting talent to the state of Michigan? And what are some of the key things that our membership should know about Pure Michigan Business Connect?
Yeah, so TED, Talent Economic Development, is our overall department. The Michigan Economic Development Corporation falls under that. Travel Michigan falls under that. So I only know about Pure Michigan Talent Connect because I'm kind of interested in it, and we're trying to help the TED folks develop a campaign which, in effect, lures talented young people to the state and tries to do all we can to keep them here. So they are working on not only marketing campaigns, communication campaigns, but they're also, that's a really interesting and cool tool to connect businesses with businesses. So you're going to see more on this. It's actually all connected with what the governor just announced, this Marshall Plan, which I've looked at over all weekend. I was reading this thing. I think it's genius. I really do. Revolutionary change of the way we educate and connect business with education over different levels over the years, where we never stop our educational process. Genius. We'll see what happens.
So this next question actually might be a little difficult, considering that Governor Snyder is your boss in a way. But it says, does the budget cuts related to the Great Lakes from the current administration make you nervous, as it does to this person?
So, you know, the Great Lakes Restoration Fund is actually a federal issue. So the state actually has continued to invest more and more on not only dollars, but on resources to try to do all we can for pollution issues. And very important. It's just like the Line 5 pipeline and all these other things. They all affect the tourism industry because they affect all of us. So we're engaged to the degree that we can be. But on the federal level, I've talked to every Congress member and senator in D.C. as I can about this. I'll be meeting with them in D.C. In a week or two, I forget. And this is one of the 5 basically talking points that I'll be bringing up, is that we need to keep the Great Lake Restoration funding in place. The federal, the Trump budget has come out basically eliminating that, but not unusual because this budget process that they've used is basically eliminating everything, and everybody needs to start fighting for what they think is right. So that's what's going to be, and we need to be part of that conversation. So I am hopeful that funding will continue, and it's going to be incredibly important because, among other things, if we don't keep the Asian carp out of the Great Lakes, it's going to be devastating. Billions of dollars of loss in the fishing industry alone. So we need to protect our Great Lakes from invasive species and other things.
Let's see, Mary, how much time do we have? Okay, so this will be the last question, and it maybe not so much related to Pure Michigan, but it is from a student, so I wanted to make sure that her question was heard. It might be more of a question for Tony, but she's going into forensic science, and she would like to know if you are aware of any colleges throughout the state of Michigan where she can study forensics as it relates to law enforcement or anything else.
Boy, I personally don't, but I'm glad to hear that. Who's doing that? Yeah, cool. That'll be fun. That's good.
Hey,
Wayne State.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised to hear that, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's good. Hope that works out. That sounds like a cool field. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. So I'm actually going to ask Kathy to come up here for just one moment. And on behalf of the Chamber, we would like to present you, Dave, with a special gift today. Thank you for coming. So before I turn the program over to Kathy, I would like to make an announcement, just a quick announcement. And, it's pretty cool how involved the Chamber seems to be in tourism right now. Of course, we have Dave Lorenz here speaking about Pure Michigan. I've built a pretty great relationship just recently with the host of Under the Radar Michigan, Tom Dalton, and the producer, Jim Edelman. And it just seems like, for some reason, it's that time. It's time to make sure that Downriver is truly discovered for what it is, and it really is a gem in our state, I believe. We have so much happening downriver. We're using the hashtag on social media, It's Happening Downriver. And so with that being said, we have actually launched a new coalition. It's a coalition to include the Chamber of Commerce and many other organizations like Riverside Kayak Connection, and there's many others. But it's called Destination Downriver. And what this group is doing, it's very early, but we're getting together and discovering ways we can build up the tourism industry in the Downriver region, and it's actually southern Wayne County, including all the way to the Washtenaw County border. A lot of beautiful communities out west of us as well. So I did want to, a couple of the committee members asked me to make that announcement, and also mention that if anyone in this room is interested in being a part of that coalition, the group meets every fourth Wednesday. So that happens to be this Wednesday at 10 a.m. And Sue Tressel is hosting us this month at the Brownstown Township Hall. So again, that's this Wednesday at 10 o'clock. If you're interested in joining us, we would love to have you. But it's a great coalition. So thank you again. Let's give our sponsors another round of applause. And also, of course, thank you to Wayne County Community College District for being our presenting sponsor today. And I would like to turn the program over to Kathy Kane, the chair of our board.
So I don't know about you, after that program, I'm really proud to be from Michigan. And yay, what a great program. Thank you so much for being with us, David, today. And that being said, this has been a great year for the chamber. I know this is probably about the 12th or 14th program since the first of the year. Very successful program. So thank you for being part of that this year. And if you're not a member, please join this year. Please invite folks to that might benefit from being part of the chamber to be part of the chamber. We really appreciate your support and your participation. And you can tell by those who engage are doing much better too because of it. So again, thank you for everyone for coming today, and if we could all rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all and have a great day.